Meanwhile, Erik ten Hag has been talking in an interview about Manchester United interviewing other coaches. Manchester United have told me that they spoke with Tuchel, but they eventually came to the conclusion that they already have the best manager. Mario and Mark are still with us.
This is bonkers. This is just not
he didn't say it. He said it.
Imagine if you say that to your girlfriend.
Imagine.
I just chat to another girl and I've decided
took someone out on a date, but I've come to the conclusion you're the fittest one.
The conclusion, I'm going to stay with you if you don't leave me. I mean, seriously, what they omitted to say there, what Ten Hag omitted to say was, amongst many other things, was they told me they talked to Tuchel and I'm the best man for the job. They told me they talked to Pochettino, I'm the best. They told me they talked to De Zerbi, I'm the best man for the job. They told me they talked to half the managers in town, and I'm the best. And I'm the best man for the job because I finished with a negative goal difference, eighth, the worst position in the Premier League,
shambles in the Champions League,
as Manchester United, and was bottom of my Champions League group, and we're absolutely hopeless. So I'm the man for the job. I mean, it's this man. I mean, apart from the fact, clearly, you're not going to walk out because you want your money. He's got a contract. You want your money. If you're going to leave a club, you want to leave with a big bag of dough. You don't want to just give it up.
I think I'd have a little bit more respect for him if he did walk.
That's my point. Is how can you have any respect for yourself in a job if your bosses are out there, and by the way, ours might be...
Well, that's been happening to Dan for years.
The way this show's gone...
They can't find anyone cheaper.
The way this show's gone today, our boss could be out there now on the blower. Who knows? But publicly they have done it. And has he no respect for himself? They have touted themselves around everybody. And now he's coming out with more nonsense. I'm actually embarrassed for him. When you would walk, wouldn't you?
I mean, you would. I mean, what can he do in that scenario? I mean, he shouldn't have probably have been honest in saying that. He's been too honest.
Right.
Because what's to gain from it? It makes you look like a bit of a laughingstock.
Mario, he was speaking on Dutch TV as a pundit. You watched it all. What was the kind of the sense of the whole conversation?
One of the biggest things what came up, one of the topics in the conversation was him highlighting, of course, that he continue his job. So I said it already before on the show. I said, look, if he's not part of the future, then he should not stay. Okay. Then this conversation picks up. He said that, you know, one of the hosts asked him, he said, what's happening? He said, look, they spoke to different managers, but clearly they flew all the way. He was in Ibiza. They flew all the way there and had the conversation with him. He then highlighted certain problems that he wanted to fix, and they were open to it. So now he's in the middle of negotiating a new deal. Wow. So when that deal takes place, then he wants the extension to what he has now, because I think he's got the last, one more season left. So they're going to extend that. And then also going to maybe require, acquire certain individuals that he's looking for. So guys, I understand you guys are not happy, but hey, Dutchman Ten Hag is not going anywhere. So, Mark, I'm sorry for you. He's staying, and we just have to see what he's bringing.
They're not acquiring any individuals that Erik ten Hag wants. No chance. Not a chance.
No.
Because he's already... Look who he's signed.
Because... No, I understand what you say, because that was one of the things that I highlighted, that some of the questions was that some of the individuals that he brought to the club didn't perform that he expected them to do. Okay, but one of the things I'm almost guaranteed, if they extend his deal, he will have influence on who's coming.
Right.
Even if it's not all, like if they get 5 players, it will be 2 then at least.
Here is the absolute 100% obvious question, Mark. If he's got a deal that ends at the end of next season, given what we've seen leading up to this summer, why on this green earth would you give him any more years?
Well, United have an option, a 12-month option in their favour, which can extend it. So basically, they might just do that. They might just do what is in the contract anyway. But it's not all on Erik ten Hag's side. This United, certainly since Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos came in, United have wanted to change the terms of his contract in the sense that until now, Erik ten Hag had a so-called veto on the signings or the final say. And we've seen that on the back of that, they've signed players that haven't really done well for Man United. They want to change the model whereby the new structure, which will eventually be headed up by Dan Ashworth as the director of football, that will have the final say. So basically, Ten Hag will say, I want a right back, and they'll say, right, we've got X, Y, and Z. It's going to be one of these. So that if and when the manager goes, they've got a squad of players which is built by the sporting director, football director, rather than the coach. So the new contract may involve taking out that veto. So that's why Ten Hag has said it's not agreed yet, because I think there's a bit of negotiating to do in the sense that he wants certain things, but the club wants certain things as well, and they might not be mutually compatible. But obviously Ten Hag feels he's in a strong position now because he knows that basically, as I said last week, that Ineos have bottled it in a sense that the fans have kind of put their put their weight behind Ten Hag. They want him to stay. They don't like any of the candidates that might come in. But obviously, give a new contract, have terms that are favourable to the club as well. And if it doesn't work well next season after 6 months, they can get rid of him on maybe a reduced terms. And there's a bit of work to be done. But I don't think any of us talking about Ten Hag right now really believe that he's the man that Ineos want. Which means that if he has a bad start next season, or even has a run of bad results some way through the season, it gives them the excuse to move him on. So a new contract means nothing. It just means that both sides can get to put in a little bit of what they want and hopefully get what they want. So we'll see what happens. But he'll sign a new contract, but it might not be totally in his favour. It might be more weighted towards the club. But ultimately, he wants to stay at Man United because they're one of the biggest clubs in the world. And somebody at some point is going to get it right.
Do you know who this helps, Dan? Man City, Liverpool, Villa, Newcastle, Chelsea. No one will be panicking.
I don't think Man City, Arsenal care
no,
about
but,
what
but no one will be panicking. This is a chance for Man United to try and make a statement, have a fresh start. If it was Pochettino, whoever it might be, Tuchel, at least it can give the Man United fans, who I think have been swayed because of the FA Cup win, which has been great for them. The tactics in that game were fantastic. But I think they've been very short-sighted, the club, and they've looked at the positives, which is 2 trophies in 2 years. But they're forgetting all the rubbish that we've been watching. Shambles in the Champions League, like embarrassing. Embarrassing when they lost against Bournemouth. Embarrassing when they lost against Crystal Palace. Could have been 7. You're watching a team that was proper dysfunctional. And to give Erik Ten Hag a sort of stay of execution, I just feel doesn't scare anyone else in the Premier League.
Let's not fudge it. Manchester United won the FA Cup because Manchester City were abysmal.
Are they playing well, Man United, though?
Only because Man City were abysmal by their standards. If Man City even reached 75% of the standards I've set in the last 4 or 5 years, it would have been a cakewalk, right? And the very fact that they were a big toe away from going out to Coventry. I mean, it goes back to the point I made, a week or 2 ago. If Ineos have been swayed by fans, right, who pay their money, they're entitled to their opinion, but they generally don't, a lot of them just don't know a lot. They're swayed by the odd result, fickle results here and there, right? You have to look at the bigger picture. And Ineos here are making themselves look quite amateurish in this role at the moment. The way they've gone about this, the way they're handling it, the wording of it, the way that Ten Hag's coming out and talking about it, because everybody and anybody with an inkling of how this sport is played and watched Manchester United over the course of the whole season knows last year, even with the injuries, Erik Ten Hag was out his depth last year. Out of his depth. There is half a dozen managers in the Premier League alone that would have got more out of that United side with the injuries than he did. And yet we're having to sit and listen to all this spiel, and Man United fans, for the most part, think they've won the lottery because Erik Ten Hag is staying. They've conveniently forgot what they've watched for 12 months, which was, for the most part, apart from the cup final, the semi-final was atrocious, absolutely atrocious. The cup final was decent, I'll give you that. The Liverpool games were decent, and in amongst it, I could count in one hand, over 38 league games, how many were above the mediocre. And yet they think, United fans and Ineos think, this is the right thing to do. It boggles the mind.
So Ten Hag is staying,
yeah, but
who should be chucked out? Who should go? We saw Mark Ogden and Gab Margotti collaborate on this article. Who should they keep? Who should they dump during the summer? Let's take a look who Mark wants out. Sancho, Casemiro, Lindelof, McTominay, Greenwood, Van der Beek, Wan-Bissaka, Christian Eriksen, and Anthony as well. Now, that's a lovely list, Mark. Beautiful list. I think most would agree with that list. But who the heck is buying any of those players?
Well, that is the problem United have got. They've got all these players that cost a lot of money on massive contracts. So they're going to have to be creative if they can. They're going to have to maybe do a few loan deals. But this is the problem United have got. It's going to take at least 2 windows to rectify that. At least 2 windows, because they've got to kind of get people out. They've got a lot of players whose contracts expire next summer. They're going to have to either sell this summer or just let them run the contract down. So it's going to take a lot of time to kind of, peel the onion, I should say. It's a mess. But they have to start this summer, and But we've been talking about this for like, what, 3-4 years now? They've got to get rid of certain players. You know, Anthony Martial's gone, finally. He's been there for 9 years and he's gone. His contract's expired. Rafael Varane has gone. But it's not going to be a quick fix because they can't get all these players out and replace them straight away. So they're just going to have to do what they can. But the problem is the people that Ineos want to employ to do that job, to run the recruitment and bring players in and get rid of them, aren't there yet. Dan Ashworth isn't there. So the people who are doing it this summer haven't got the expertise to do it. So it's not going to end well, is it?
I'm having a moment here.
Oh, okay.
I'm having a moment.
Is it a positive
I think
moment?
Don should have a moment as well. Maybe Mario should have a moment. Maybe Mario should have a moment as well. I'll tell you why. Because I was looking down that list, and if there was ever proof needed that, my God, we were born in the wrong era, it was Scott McTominay is earning 125 grand a week.
Were you nowhere near that?
I mean, God.
You would tackle him, eh? You would tackle him. You would probably tackle
God
him. That's
help
what
me.
he would be
No.
doing.
I want to see the list again. Was Jadon Sancho 250?
Yes.
I mean, at least Scott McTominay puts a shift in
Yeah.
and he tries to earn his money. 250 a week?
Are you saying that no one's going to come
But,
along?
but Sancho
and
cost
match that?
£70 million.
Yeah.
Sancho cost 70 million. That's why they give him a big pay packet, and that's the crazy thing about it.
How much, Oggy, are Man United paying him to be on loan?
Well, this is the question, because Dortmund haven't got the money to pay all of it, so I'd imagine it's around half of it. Even if that, I mean, if Dortmund are paying 100 grand a week, I'd be surprised, but they had no choice. They're in a real mess with Sancho because any club that wants to take him knows that he's damaged goods. He's never going to play again under Ten Hag, so they can lowball United because nobody is going to say, yeah, we'll give you £50 million for him and we'll pay him 200 grand a week. Yeah. It ain't going to happen. So United have got a real problem with Sancho because he has no value because of the situation with the manager.
Oh, wow. Casemiro loving life, though, isn't he?
But
I think a couple more years on
isn't
that.
it that
Go on,
he
Mario.
wants to? I think he wants to extend his deal as well. I think he wants to stay at Dortmund. Eh? That's the next conversation that they're having with him because I think he highlighted because definitely if Ten Hag extends his deal, why he wants to come back. We already knew that already in advance because I don't think he will put that step back that people expect him to do. So then him going back to Man United, and I know Ten Hag, he can be very stubborn. If he doesn't apologize or whatever he's looking for, he's not coming back. So then
Great point,
probably they will try their best to keep him there.
Great point that Mario makes there, because if Ineos are having the conversation with Ten Hag and they've said, we're going to keep you, you're the best, what are you going to do with Jadon Sancho? And Ten Hag says, well, he's not coming back. And they go, can't you build them bridges? Because he's a good player. Look what he's done in the Champions League for Dortmund. Can't you build? No, he's gone. So there's like an immediate problem straight away. It just causes absolute havoc.
Yeah.
Because Sancho is saying, well, I'm not coming back to Man United if the manager stays. It's crazy.
People were scratching their head at the time why Casemiro walked from Real Madrid to Manchester with a backpack and a sandwich and a bottle of water and was still smiling. Then that's the reason, isn't it? And it was 5 years, wasn't it?
Yep.
You know, for a great player, but a great player who's...
But people get old. There you are. See, that's the Don insight that we bring.
The philosopher there.
Mark, thank you very much. Enjoy your evening at the Reaper Bar.